All right, let's work on this. This is our second short film slash music video under same camera. I'm calling it Hype Sandwich. So let's just go through some of the shots. I'm gonna open it up in Lightbox and just show you what we got here. So we got a bunch of interior shots and then we have a few exterior shots. And just by looking at it right now, I can tell you that it seems like it's pretty well balanced and it shouldn't be too hard, but it was shot under natural lighting. So we're gonna run into tons of random issues unlike the last lesson. That's why I chose this, to give you a different perspective. So here's my goal with this. I'm gonna start off applying my node tree and then I'm gonna drop in a Canon C-Log 2 LUT. This was shot in RAW. Once we apply the LUT to one clip, we're gonna copy and paste that to all the clips because they're all shot with C-Log 2. That way we'll have the base set for all the shots and then we can just start cranking at our primaries to dial it all in. And we're gonna follow the same pattern, color correction, shot matching, and then a little bit of jiggery pokery. Know what I'm saying? Let's get right into it. So under power grade, here's my node tree. I'm gonna drop that in. I'm gonna go into my LUTs, Canon LUTs, and we are gonna be using our C-Log 2 LUT. Boom, magic, we're done. No need to do anything else. Export it and get an A on that assignment. Now that we have that on our first shot, I'm gonna grab this clip, go all the way, shift and select the last clip, middle click and apply it, and boom, this doesn't work. This looks nothing like that. So what the hell happened? Well, we're gonna figure it out. That's what we're doing in this lesson. Some of the same issues we're having, so the shots are not really coming through. So this is considered one shot where it's clearly two different shots. So I'm gonna zoom in and I'm gonna blade it manually. Go back to the color page. This is already looking really good. It was properly exposed, as you can see in my scopes right here, shot by yours truly. Some of the things that I'm gonna point out is if you look at the exteriors, they're a little bit blue heavy, so we're gonna have to take that blue out, but that's not gonna be a problem because we're gonna be creating a fun little look. Not too crazy, but just a little something different than Rec 709 that we got going on over here. Okay, so let's start right here. What do I need to focus on when I am doing a primary correction and then I want to shot match that? So the most important thing for the interior under natural lighting condition is going to be latch onto something, a black point or a white point. So here I'm going to focus on my white point, which will be my walls, okay? So I'm looking at it here and I can already tell that this is supposed to be a pretty perfect neutral because you can see the scopes right here and how everything is white, white, white all the way through. That means it's pretty neutral. You can see it right here on my histogram. If I go to this shot, it's pretty close, just a little warm biased. I mean, I can see just a little red in the upper mids. If I go to this shot, similar story, just look at my histogram right here, pretty well balanced. And then it's gonna be a similar deal all the way through, just look at it. So these are pretty well balanced shots. Obviously, we're gonna create some sort of a challenge for us to make it a little bit more challenging, or else this lesson will be too easy. So one thing that I can already see that we're gonna have to deal with is contrast. So we're just gonna have to do a proper exposure because this is cool, but I gotta give it more contrast because if you just think of a commercial for Nike or Adidas or something like that, you see like it's pretty stylized and it's pretty punchy, and that's what we want to create with that one too. So I mean, I can already see the potential in these sort of shots that I can use as my hero shots to build that juice. So I think I do want to start with this because there's just so much range here, and once I set up a shot like that, and it's really well exposed as well, so I feel like if I use this as my base, it might be translated pretty well for all my interior shots. So let's just get right into it, okay? So I'm gonna start with that. So let me go to my primaries And what I want to do is start with my lift and just bring it down so I get proper contrast going. I'm going to lift my gamma, and I'm going to do that dance, you know the deal. Bring my lift down, bring my gain up, bring my gamma up, and I want to keep the gamma up because I want her skin to be in that world where it is. I'm going to bring my gain down a little bit. I'm going to bring my gamma up, gain down, gamma up, and then bring my lift down. Guys, once again, I've said it a million times, exhaust your primaries before you jump into other fancy schmancy tricks that are in DaVinci Resolve. All the different tools that you can use, just maximize this, guys, first. And now one thing that I'm seeing is that my blues are a little bit lifted than my reds, and if I just want to balance them out, I'm going to use again my lift to just kind of dial it in. I'm just looking at honestly, I'm just looking at the scopes right now. I'm not even looking at my actual image to dial it in. So what's happening is that my midtones need to be brought down. So now if I'm looking at right here, it's looking pretty good. And let's just loop it. So now we got some juice going on, right? So we're seeing more detail in her hair, her skin, everything is kind of popping out. I gave it a little bit of saturation too. So this is looking pretty good. And just look at, so in your waveform, if your black points are white, if your white points are white, then that means that you are well balanced and everything is looking good. So one more thing that I'm going to do this time, I'm going to use a little cheat. So this guy right here, that's your white balance eyedropper, and I can just go find like a 18% gray or some sort of gray in the screen, and then I can just click on it and just look. So that's going to give me that extra little boost that I needed to really dial in my white balance. And guys, you guys are seeing the theme now. Throughout this masterclass, I want to show you as many different techniques as possible so you can be super versatile in DaVinci Resolve and really get to use the right tool instead of just showing off without really knowing why you're using what you're using. So now I'm going to go ahead and update all my interior shots with this primary corrected node tree. And probably the contrast is going to be not on point, so I'm just gonna have to match that. So this is what I'm gonna do. Okay, this time I'm gonna turn on neighbor clips, and then I'm just gonna kind of fly. Let's just see what happens. So I'm just gonna kind of wing it and work like that and see if we get somewhere. So I'm gonna lift it up a little bit. I'm gonna go lift that up, bring that down a little bit, and I'm just kind of eyeballing my wall to the other wall. Like I'm looking at this wall to that wall and see like where we're getting. And yep, I'm just gonna do something like that. And then what else? Let's just add a little bit more saturation, so something like that. And for now, I'm just going to leave it there. So it's like we started right here, we're right here, so it's looking kind of cool. Now I'm going to move to the next shot. And let's see. Okay, so that's a little bit better. Let's move on to the next shot. Yeah, the top two are not bad now. They're pretty cool. This seems like has a little bit more red, so I'm just gonna take my midtones and just bring them down. I'm just gonna bring them to that little bit of neutral side, and then let's move on to this shot. This one is actually looking really good, so I'm going to leave it as is. Let's go to this. This one is a little bit more on the red side, so I'm just going to take my midtones and again bring them toward greenish yellow. Pull it up a little bit, something like that, so that's not bad. Moving on. This is looking good. I mean, I can add a little bit more. So maybe something like that is just matching the other walls a little bit better. Let's go right here. So something like that, then we're gonna move on. I'm gonna try to paste it and see if that does the trick. It kind of does. Moving on, trying to paste the old grade and see if that does anything. It kind of did, but now it's just getting a bit much. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back in and I'm gonna take my highlights and move them away from the green. And basically what this shot needs is just a bit more contrast in the gamma. So I'm going to bring it down, pull that down, pull the highlights up, and then take my lift down a little bit and pull my gain up, lift down, gain up, gamma up, I'm sorry, lift down. And then I'm going to take my gamma and just move it over to the green, and I'm just really trying to match this to that for now. And moving on, and then here let me just copy this grade from here. It doesn't really work, so I'm gonna go here and pull out some of that red. So somewhere around here, and then let's move on. So this one just clearly has a bit more blue, I feel like. So I'm just gonna go right here and here's my struggle with this shot. Okay, I just want to make sure that this matches that, and it's not right now. So I just need to pull out more blue. That's just what needs to happen. So I'm gonna go into my primaries here, and I'm just gonna pull some of that blue like that and pull it down, and then I wanna, so now we're getting somewhere. So now we're just getting somewhere. So I'm just gonna park it there for now, and I still know that my shoes are looking dirty now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use my log controls, and then I'm gonna drive my whites to pure white. I'm also gonna raise my whites too, and then just drive them a bit there. But again, guys, don't forget that this is my primaries, and I can go in and make micro adjustments later on. So let's keep moving. I guess you guys are starting to pick up the power of neighbor clips under split screen and how insane this can be. Moving along. Now this and this looks pretty different, right? So I think this is what needs to change. So let me do this. Yeah, so there's just a bit more green in here, so let's pull that out. Even just doing that helped a little. And now let me go back and turn that on. So So basically now what it did is it kind of told me that I put myself off on that one. So let's go. I'm going to keep this guy here for now. I'm going to come back, revisit it, and fix it. So let's go here. This looks pretty good. It looks pretty good for now. And then let's go here. And that looks good. So I feel like let's come out of here and look at all our interior shots and kind of go through it and see where we stand. Looking good. I'm going to turn off loop. Looks good. Looks good. Looks good. So that's a bit contrasty compared to this guy. So let's just go back to our neighboring shot and see what's happening. So I'm going to come right here and then let's lift it up, give it some juice. So I'm going to start off with pulling my gamma up, my gain down, my lift up, my lift down, and somewhere around there. And let's go see what happens. So when he's here, boom, boom, boom. What I'm not liking in the following shot is that it's a bit too on the magenta side. So I'm going to grab it, pull it toward the warm side. Something like that for now. And now this is just looking kind of off. So let's look at it here. Let me just take my eyedropper, drop it here. And we were pretty spot on actually. And let me just look at a few more shots to like really dial in the contrast, and then I'm gonna do something different than what we did with the last lesson. So let me just bring up my lift a little bit and bring down my gain a little bit, lift it up a little bit, and then bring my mids up, bring my lift down. So let's park it somewhere around here. Let's go to the next shot. This looks good. This looks good. All right, this is what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna grab all of these interior shots. I'm gonna put them in a group. I'm gonna call it interior. Now, what I wanna do is I wanna go in here, group post, and I wanna create a quick little fun look, okay? And I'm gonna do it like that. So I'm gonna go in here and I want this whole thing to be a little bit on the warm side. So I'm gonna pull this down and look what it's doing. And I like what it does to my skin, and I'm liking that. And what I'm gonna do is I just want to affect everything but the highlights. That's gonna be accomplished by creating one or two things, either a layer node or a parallel node. I'm gonna do a parallel node, and the cool thing about that is it can blend everything in. So you'll see. I can pretty much go grab this and then I can drive it back. So I can say, give me my whites back. So check this out. I could have done it the layer mixer way as well. But what I like about doing it the parallel node way is that everything is blended in, because parallel nodes are good for blending, and layer mixer is good for adding. So just look at everything, how it's blended. There's no halos or anything like that, which is super cool. So basically, let's do a little bit more and really make it so we made our lights and all our highlights like crisp white. So that's pretty cool everywhere. Look at right here, we just made them crisp white. And then besides that, we were able to add a really cool look. And now if I turn it on and off, you'll see we created this super quick look. Nothing too fancy, nothing too crazy, but it's still kind of cool. And there's one more thing that I want to add to it, and that's that thing that I do. I raise my lifts and I bring down my gain, and then I add contrast a little bit to give it that little film look. And I'm gonna do that. So I'm gonna lift my gamma a little bit, give it a bit more contrast. And then what I want to do is I just want to go to my log and bring down the bottom just a bit, something like that. So that was able to give us a bit more punch. So now if I take these three and turn them on and off, you see how quickly we were able to create a pretty cool look. Pops my skin, makes the background look pretty cool, keeps the highlights pure white, which is a big thing. And then one more thing that I can do is I can go in here and yeah, so I mean, this is pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Now let's go back. So the beautiful thing about it is that because we group clipped all of these, that look was applied everywhere on all of these shots. So ideally, because we color matched first, it should work on everything, but if it doesn't, then we're gonna have to make individual changes. But let's just watch it through. Actually, you know what, even better, let's open it in Lightbox right here and kind of go through these. So I mean, that's pretty cool. You can kind of see how all of this is coming through. I mean, just look at the wall back there, look at the wall right here, look at the wall right here. And that's the benefit of color correction, then shot matching, and then look creation, because it just all blends really, really well. I mean, just look at all of these shots and how it's just keeping our background. So this is one of the shots that I feel like requires some work to be done. So I'm just gonna go under look adjustment here, and I'm gonna start with just popping my, I'm gonna lift my gain a little bit and see if that gives it anything, and go to the previous shot, next shot, and let me see what it's really missing. I mean, just the warmth in general. So I'm just gonna take my mid-tone and just lift it up, give it some warmth, and see if that does it. That's kind of doing it. So I mean, this is before, this is after, so that's really doing it. So I think it's a pretty dramatic, pretty cool look. So let's watch it through. I think this might have gotten a bit too warm now, so let me just go in here and I'm gonna use my gain to just pull it down and just add a little bit of blue back in there. Yeah, that's a bit better. So this is really cool. Once again, guys, next week is gonna be color grading, and that's when we're really gonna be getting in there and creating mad looks. This module is all about shot matching, color correction, and creating a little bit of zing, and we did all of that. So we're done with our interior lesson. I'm gonna move on to exterior shots and see what we can do out there. Okay, so this is our first shot. I'm looking at it, and let's just analyze this. And what I'm seeing is it looks fine here. It's a little bit more blue biased overall. I hate this look. Okay, I don't care if it's neutral or not. I hate this look. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start adding warmth in my midtones. So I'm gonna start there. So I'm gonna grab my midtones, I'm gonna raise it up, and then I'm just focusing on the skin right now, and then I'm gonna balance it out with my lift. So I'm gonna keep going there, balance it out with my lift. So now I'm looking at it, and that's starting to look somewhat decent. I'm gonna also raise my lift because right now it's just too much. It's too crushed, so I'm gonna pull it up a little bit like that. Just give it a little bit more, and I can bring my gain down. I can bring my gamma down. That's okay. And this is starting to look a little bit better. And now what I want to do is I want to transfer that over through everything, and then eventually we're going to see how that plays out. So all my exterior shots, let me just grab everything and paste that and see if it's sending anything through and then what needs to be changed. So again, it did that. It pulled my other shot in here. So I'm going to go into my edit and I'm going to blade it. And now let's go back. And that's our other shot, but that doesn't matter because we're applying the same color. So how about this? We're going to watch it through. We're going to see where we sit and then what needs to be done. Or we can just open it up in Lightbox right here and kind of analyze it. So let's make it a bit bigger, and then let's go to our exterior shots and maybe make it, you know what, let's just hide this and let's look at it right like that and see where everything is. So I mean, I like how it looks. One thing that sticks out here, first of all, this contrast and where everything is pretty cool. But if I look at it, these are a bit hot and I can see that. So even if I just take this and not do neighboring this time, like I'll just do selected clips and we can look at these two, you can just see how much brighter it is. So I'm gonna try to bring that down a little bit so we can see it right here. It's pretty obvious. So let's just do this. I'm gonna go right here and I'm gonna go right here. I'm gonna check this on, and I'm just gonna take this and bring it down. So somewhere around there. I mean, you can see so much detail is coming back into her skin, which is pretty cool. And I feel like this might be a bit warmer than this. It looks like it. Just look at the bag and everything else. So what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna take my midtones and I'm gonna just dial them back a little bit. Like this much, not even too much. You can just see the skin is starting to match pretty well. And now that we did that, let's just go to this shot, and now we can have the neighboring clips on and see what's happening. So now that's looking too hot, so I can just copy paste this and see if that does the trick, and it kind of does. Then let's just go to this one and see if that does the trick. They're coming in pretty good, but I think let's just do selected clips again and evaluate these two, and I think we can raise them a little bit, you know? So I'm just gonna go in here again and take my gain and just bring it up a little bit, not too much, just a little bit like that, and park it right there. Actually, you know, let's raise it a little bit more, somewhere around here, and then let's go to this shot and then apply the same one right here, because these do match pretty well and the detail in the skin is looking really good. And let's go through some of these shots right here and see what we can do. I like their skin. I like the color on the sky. And then this is where the sky looks very different. So if I take this and select these 4 shots and you just kind of look at them, see what's happening. So that's something that we need to adjust. What I want to do is I want to take the sky on these 2 and bring it down to this. I think it looks really cool what the sky is like over here. So that's cool. Now we know what to do. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to go right here, and it should be pretty easy to grab the sky. There's a couple of different things that we can do though before we even grab the sky like that. So I want to try, actually, you know what? That would be the best way. So let's just try grabbing the sky and see what happens. And like I said, I mean, it was gonna do a good job because just such a clean key. So it's grabbed pretty well, and now we see that little thing going on over there, and see if this is gonna take care of it, and it does. And the key is pretty clean, but we can always add just a little bit of blur to just make it a little bit better. And now what I need to do is go right here, go back here, and alright, so I will just start with highlight. So I'll just start bringing it down. Actually, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my gain and I'm going to start pulling it down. And then I'm going to take my highlight and just pull it down even more. And then let's see, let's add more blue in it. So I'm adding more blue, and then let's go a little bit more toward magenta-ish, and then I'm just gonna keep dropping the gain. And then let's just pull the highlights down more, and let's just take my gamma and move it toward blue a little, something like that. So I mean, here's the thing, okay, we were able to bring it really close. I mean, if I match these two and go back in here and you just see what we did, I would go in here and I will bring the strength to about half, so then that way it can blend in a bit better. And I think that is a happy medium to where we started to where we are. And one more thing that we can try is this. We can go in here and start bringing the highlights down and just look, it's bringing in, it's kind of filling in for that last step. And what we can do, we can come back here and just take our color and make it a bit more blue and see if that sells it. So yeah, I mean, that's what I would say for this shot, and then we can do the same thing here too. And let's see how well that goes, and it does a pretty good job. So let's play it through and see if we did it successfully. So let's check it out. Let's actually check it out with sound from the top. Let's go.
Get it by any means, I gotta come up. I'm trying to live life every day like it's summer. They try and test me, yeah, I'm outnumbered, but I won't lose no more, and that's the promise. They say to make it, you gotta be patient, but I ain't got time to be wasted. And when I get it, you know they gon' hate it. Yeah, you know they gon' hate it. Know they gon' hate it. They ain't believe me, they thought I couldn't achieve it. They ain't wanna see the boy reach greatness. So oh no, no, straight from the bottom and I made it to the top. Gotta win every day, so I take it. Yeah, I go hard on the baseline. Yeah, you never thought you'd see the kid shine, but I'ma run it up. I'ma run it up. I'ma run it up. I go hard on the baseline. I ain't gon' stop till I get mine. So I'ma run it up. I'ma run it up. I'ma run it up. Every day I gotta get it. I cannot lose. I cannot lose. Every day I gotta get it. I cannot lose.
So this was shot matching with the same camera under natural lighting conditions.